It was 3:12 a.m. when I woke up to the sound of my own name being whispered. Daniel. The voice came from the corner of my room, deep, slow, and echoing like it had crawled through the walls. My lamp flickered once, twice, then went out completely. I froze under the blanket, my heart thudding so loud I thought the thing in the dark could hear it. That's when I saw him. A tall, thin shadow stood by my bedroom door. His arms were too long, his head tilted unnaturally, like his neck had snapped. There were no eyes, no face, just darkness shaped like a man. And then he moved. The shadow glided toward my bed, silent, slow, unstoppable. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The closer he got, the colder the air became. My breath turned to fog. I could smell dirt, like an open grave. He stopped right next to me. Then he bent down. A whisper brushed my ear. "You shouldn't have looked back." Before I could even blink, his hand, long and black like smoke, reached for my chest. The room shook. My mirror shattered. The shadow vanished, leaving behind only a dark handprint on my blanket. I thought it was over, but that was just the beginning. Scene shift, the beginning of the story. 3 days earlier, I was at Hillview Cemetery, helping my friend Jake film his ghost hunting video for his YouTube channel. It was supposed to be just another weekend adventure. Some laughs, a few scares, maybe a weird noise or two. But Hillview wasn't like the other places we'd been. It felt wrong. The air was heavy, and even though it was early afternoon, the sky looked gray. The old gravestones leaned like tired soldiers, half buried in the dry earth. Jake was excited, waving his camera around. "Dude, this place is perfect. Locals say it's haunted by something called the Shadow Man. Ever heard of it?" I laughed it off. "Yeah, right. Every cemetery has its own Shadow Man. It's just a myth." But as we went deeper into the graveyard, I started to feel something strange. The air got colder. The wind stopped. The world went quiet. That's when I saw it, just for a second. A black figure standing at the far end, between two crooked gravestones. "Jake, do you see that?" He turned his camera toward where I was pointing, but by then, the figure was gone. Jake laughed. "Nice try, man. You're not scaring me that easy." But I wasn't joking. Something had been there. We kept filming until sunset. Then, as we packed up, I noticed a dark smudge on my arm, like soot. I tried wiping it off, but it didn't come off easily. I brushed it off, thinking it was just dirt. That night, when I got home, the house felt off. It was too quiet. Even the clock ticking in the hallway sounded muffled. Then, I noticed something strange, a shadow under my bedroom door. At first, I thought it was just the streetlight outside, until it moved. Slowly, the shadow slid away, like it had been standing there, waiting. Low point, calm before the terror. The next day, everything felt normal again. I tried not to think about it. Jake texted me the video from the cemetery, and I sat down to watch it that evening. For the first 10 minutes, nothing weird happened. Just two guys joking around in an old graveyard. But then, near the end, I froze. In the corner of the frame, standing behind me, was a tall, black figure. Its head tilted, its hands long. It wasn't a shadow from the trees. It was him. Jake called me right after. His voice was shaky. "Bro, did you see it too?" We decided to meet the next morning to check the footage together. But that night, the footsteps started. From the ceiling. Soft. Slow. Deliberate. Creak, creak, creak. I lived alone. At first, I told myself it was the pipes. The wind. Anything but what I saw on that video. But then something heavy fell upstairs. A loud thud that shook the light fixture. I grabbed a flashlight and forced myself to climb the attic ladder. My hands trembled as I pushed open the door. The beam of light cut through the darkness, and there, in the corner, was a dark handprint smeared across the wood, just like the one that would appear on my blanket days later. Then something breathed, right behind me. Daniel's scream echoed through the attic as the flashlight flickered wildly in his shaking hand. The air was so cold that his breath came out in white clouds. He could feel it again, the heavy, crawling presence behind him. Slow, raspy breathing filled the silence, followed by the faint creak of the floorboards. He turned, and for a brief, flickering moment, the light caught it. A face, if it could even be called that. A shape darker than the shadows around it. No eyes, no mouth, no features at all, just a deep black outline that seemed to swallow the light. Daniel stumbled backward, his heart pounding in his ears. The shadow moved, not by walking, but by gliding across the attic walls, stretching impossibly long. "What do you want?" Daniel yelled, his voice cracking. The answer came not from the air, but from inside his mind, whispered in a voice that didn't belong to anyone human. "You brought me home." The attic ladder shook violently, and before Daniel could react, the floor beneath him vanished. He fell, crashing hard onto the hallway below. His head hit the wooden floor, and everything went dark. When he opened his eyes again, morning light was seeping through the curtains. His whole body ached. For a second, he thought maybe he had dreamed everything. But when he looked at his arm, he froze. 3 long, deep scratches ran down his forearm. He hadn't fallen into anything sharp. Those marks were deliberate. He glanced up. The attic door was still open. A chill ran through him. Grabbing a broom, he poked at the ladder from a distance, but nothing moved. He let out a nervous laugh. "It's fine, it's gone," he whispered. But when he looked down at the floor, his laughter stopped. There were footprints in the dust. 2 sets. One his own, leading to the ladder. The other, larger, darker, led straight to his bedroom door. Daniel tried to shake it off. Maybe he had done it somehow. Maybe it was a trick of the light. He spent the day trying to convince himself that it was all in his head. But every time he walked past a mirror or turned off a light, he felt something watching. Later that afternoon, while washing his face, he glanced up at the bathroom mirror. Steam fogged up the glass. For a second, everything seemed normal. Then letters began to form slowly on the foggy surface. He watched, frozen in terror, as words appeared before his eyes. "Don't look back." He stumbled backward, knocking over a cup. The message faded as if it had never been there. His phone buzzed on the counter, and he snatched it up with shaking hands. He called Jake. "Dude, I'm serious," Daniel said, his voice trembling. "Something followed us from that place. I heard it last night. It's here." Jake sighed on the other end. "Bro, you're freaking yourself out. There's no something. We were in a graveyard, not a ghost movie. Just get some rest, okay?" Daniel wanted to believe him, but that night, he couldn't sleep. The air turned cold again around 3 a.m., the kind of cold that felt alive, the kind that wrapped around his neck like a hand. His digital clock glowed red numbers across the dark room. He pulled the blanket up to his chin, but then he heard it, the sound of soft, deliberate footsteps moving down the hallway. He held his breath. The steps stopped right outside his door. The doorknob twitched. Once, twice, then the door creaked open. "Jake," he whispered, but he lived alone. There was no answer. He turned on his phone flashlight and aimed it at the doorway. The hall was empty. The shadows looked deeper than usual, like they were swallowing the light. He shut the door quickly and sat there trembling. Then his phone buzzed in his hand again. He looked down. A new notification had appeared. New video uploaded, Shadow Man cemetery footage. It was Jake's YouTube channel, but Daniel hadn't sent him any files. He clicked the notification. The video began playing, shaky footage of their night at the cemetery. Everything looked the same, until the end. When Daniel and Jake had run out of the graveyard that night, Daniel remembered dropping his camera. In the video, the footage didn't stop there. It kept recording. The camera was lying sideways on the ground, lens pointed toward the trees. Through the screen, Daniel saw a shape move in the distance. Tall, thin, completely black. It walked toward the camera slowly, its movements strange, like it was floating an inch above the ground. Then it crouched down, and Daniel saw it reach for the camera. The last frame showed a hand long, dark fingers stretching over the lens. Then everything went black. Daniel sat frozen, staring at the screen. The video ended, and his room light flickered. Once, twice, then it went out completely. From behind him came the low whisper again, soft but clear, like a breath against his ear. "You brought me home." Daniel turned slowly, his phone shaking in his hand. In the faint glow of the screen, he saw it, standing in the corner of his room, motionless, watching. And this time it smiled.